Welcome to my multivariate presentation for Poll 242 entitled Trust in the Moroccan Government. As research suggests, Morocco is a parliamentary constitutional monarchy where the Prime Minister Ben Khourein is the head of government and of a multi-party system. Executive power is exercised by the government and legislative power is held by the government and the two chambers of parliament. The Moroccan constitution provides for a monarchy with a parliament and an independent judiciary. With recent reforms, the King of Morocco still has a few executive powers, but the majority of power is now in the hand of PM Ben Khourein. According to Masba and Malika, since the new Justice and Development Party with head Ben Khourein has taken control in Morocco, there has been a significant rise of trust in the recent political work. Masba claims that the Justice and Development Party's transition from an opposing party to a ruling party has restored trust in politics. Malika suggests that some of the major changes Ben Khourin's government has looked at are social and economic issues, and therefore they affected the rise of trust for the government. As a result, today my research question will be, what factors have caused the recent rise of trust in the Moroccan government? To study this question, I will be looking at the dataset Eurobarometer 2007, focusing specifically on Morocco, and my analytic approach will be a reliability analysis, multiple regression, and a hierarchical regression using a control variable. For my dependent variable, I will be measuring trust in the Moroccan government. To do this, I have decided to create an index using three variables: trust in the Prime Minister, trust in the courts, and trust in the Parliament. Since these are three important components of the Moroccan government, this should give an accurate reading of how much one trusts the government overall. As the table suggests, my alpha, which is 0.8549, is much higher than the minimum required threshold, and deleting any variable will only make it smaller. Therefore, it's safe to say that my indicators are related enough to create an index. My first independent variable is economic condition of Morocco. Respondents were able to say whether they thought the state of Morocco's economy was very bad, bad, good, or very good. I hypothesized that those who felt Morocco's economic conditions were very good would have more trust for the government. This is under the assumption that the people will think that the new government under Ben Khourein would be responsible for their very good economic conditions, and therefore trusting them would only be natural. Masba also suggests that there is poor economic conditions in Morocco due to drought, and therefore the new government must pave a way for economic liberalization of the market and open it for more competition. Therefore, if people think that Ben Khourein is in fact making this happen to create stability and an expansion of the middle class, then they should trust him for further economic growth. My second independent variable is if political leaders care about ordinary citizens. Respondents could answer strongly agree, agree, disagree, or strongly disagree to this question. However, I hypothesize that those who answer strongly agree will have more trust in the government. This is because, according to Howe, human development in Morocco was in a state of crisis, with the youth suffering to find education, jobs, and always having poor living conditions. Because of this, the youth have become more demanding in what they want and make sure that political leaders care about their wants and needs. Therefore, those respondents who say that they believe that political leaders actually do care about ordinary citizens will probably have trust in the government, because it would mean that the government is looking at citizens' individual problems and not just the power and politics that comes along with being a leader. My third and final independent variable is whether or not respondents participated in the last election. Respondents could answer yes or no to this question. However, I made eligible to vote a missing value. I hypothesized that those who did participate in the last election trust in the government more. This is because, according to the EIU, citizens of Morocco before Ben Khourein believed that the government did not do much of anything for the country because it was still really being run by the monarch. Therefore, they did not participate in the elections and as a result had no trust in the government. However, since Ben Khourein and the fact that he had taken control of more power and is making more decisions than the king, those who decided to vote are actually showing trust in his government because they believe the monarchy no longer runs the country. As you can see, the first thing I have done is created a multiple regression model. The adjusted R-squared explains variance of approximately 18.4%. The significance of the overall equation is calculated using the F-score, and since the results are less than 0.5, the results are not due to a sampling error. It should be noted that all of the tolerance levels are above 0.02, and therefore there is no problem with collinearity. The first B value for economic condition shows a negative 1.2. This indicates that there has been a negative relationship between economic conditions and trust in the government, which is unlike what I had hypothesized. The B value suggests that an increase in economic condition produces a 0.12 category decrease in trust for the government. The second independent variable shows negative 0.05. This indicates another negative relationship between political leaders caring about ordinary citizens and trust for the government, once again unlike my hypothesis. The B-value suggests that for everyone who thinks that political leaders care about ordinary citizens, there is a 0.05 category decrease in trust for the government. Lastly, the third independent variable shows a B-value of about 0.04. This is the lowest predictor. However, like my hypothesis, it confirms that participating in the last election produces a 0.04 category increase in the trust for the government. To summarize, hypothesis 1 and 2 were proven incorrect. However, hypothesis 3 was proven to be correct. Perhaps hypothesis 2 was incorrect because Bank Korean has yet to create a dramatic change in which people can confidently say that their government cares about ordinary citizens. On the other hand, I was shocked that those who responded that their economic condition in Morocco was very good were producing less trust in the government. I decided to further explore this scenario and find out why this may be. I believe that perhaps if we add employment status, we can get a better picture of the results regarding economic conditions. I hypothesize that those who are employed will have a larger impact on the dependent variable because economic conditions will affect them slightly more than those who are unemployed. After running a hierarchical regression, it showed that being employed did not change the effect economic condition had on trust in the government. The result was replication. Based on the rule of thirds, both the regression analysis turned out to be almost the same, meaning that employment status was not an intervening variable. I thought this was significant because it is generally assumed that those who are employed would have a different perception of the economic condition of the country versus those who are unemployed, especially in a poor country. However, that does not seem to be the case. In conclusion, it seems like the new government is a positive change for Morocco. However, the public still has a lack of trust for the government based on economic conditions and if political leaders care about ordinary citizens. Hopefully, Bank Korean will create new economic policies which will allow Moroccans to put their trust back into the government for economic improvement than the other way around. Also, Bank Korean should focus his attention on the Moroccan youth and their demands for a proper education and occupation. Overall, the party has been a positive change for the Moroccan country and will hopefully continue to be so that they can democratize successfully. Thank you for watching my presentation.